Chair Clifton, we do have a quorum and it's 10 o'clock if you'd like to begin.
Thank you. Quick audio check. You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. And greetings, everybody. Today is June 6th, D-Day, and significant in that regard for sure. But also we find ourselves on the front end of summer here quickly. Temperatures are revealing that. Hope everybody's doing well. And let's go ahead and get this meeting started. I think first up, Rhonda, are we going to be talking about, we call to order, we do a roll call. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman and members of the TAC. Coconino County, Tiffany Kerr.
Good morning, I am here.
Thank you. Coconino County Citizen Representative Carol Covington.
I am also present.
Thank you. City of Flagstaff, Greg Clifton.
Good morning, present.
Good morning. We just let, okay. City of Flagstaff Citizen Representative Michelle James.
I am here.
Thank you. Metro Plan Dave Wessel.
Here.
Thank you. NAU Aaron Stamm.
Here.
Thank you. And we also have her alternate, Rafi Rivera.
I think he jumped off. We had our wires crossed and I said, I was here today. I think he thought I was going to be absent.
Okay. All right. Thank you. NAU student, ASNAU president, Carly Vandermeersch.
I'm here.
Hi, Carly. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Thank you.
CCC Kurt Stoll.
Good morning, present.
Good morning. And Economic Development Representative, Citizen Representative Gail Jackson is excused. We do have our attorney, Cameron Stanley, on the line. Still with us, Cameron?
I see.
Think you're muted.
It should be better.
Did you show?
No, we're not muted.
Oh,
And then they're now muted.
okay.
Now they're not.
Cameron, are you with us? Just to confirm.
But we have an audio.
Okay, we have members of staff here in the Vera room and on Zoom. And I'll turn it back to you, Chair Clifton. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here, either in person or remotely. And the meeting is officially called to order. Thank you for the roll call. And we'll get right on to the agenda with our safety minute.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and members of the Transit Advisory Committee. Today's safety minute is on heat-related illness symptoms. So as it starts to get hotter this week and throughout the summer, heat-related injuries can become a killer on the job site. Deaths from heat-related injuries continue to increase every year. The three types of heat-related illnesses are heat stroke, heat exhaustion, and heat cramps. In the past, we have discussed how to treat each type of heat-related illness, Today, we wanted to remind everyone of the symptoms for each heat-related illness, so you will know what heat-related illness you are needing to treat. We'll start with heat stroke, which is the most dangerous. Heat stroke occurs when the ability to sweat fails and the body temperature rises to a dangerous level quickly. Someone experiencing heat stroke will have very hot skin and an altered mental state. Seizures can also result, ridding the body of excess heat, which is crucial. The next is heat exhaustion. When the body loses an excessive amount of salt and water, heat exhaustion sets in. Symptoms are similar to the flu and include severe thirst, fatigue, headache, nausea, vomiting, and sometimes diarrhea. They may also have clammy or pale skin, dizziness, or rapid pulse. And the last is heat cramps. Heat cramps are muscle spasms, usually affecting the legs or abdominal muscles, often after physical activity. Excessive sweating reduces salt levels in the body, resulting in heat cramps. Persons with pain or spasms in the abdomen, arms, or sometimes arms or legs are probably experiencing heat cramps. Please keep an eye on one another this summer, especially when out doing physical activity in the hot weather. Thank you and welcome to the June Transit Advisory Committee meeting.
Thank you. What a relevant and very timely safety tip to share with all of us. So thank you so much for that. Really do appreciate it, as we are likely to see some record-setting temperatures here in the days to follow, at least in the valley. I don't know what's going to happen here in Flagstaff, but I think it's going to be quite hot. Let's go on to our wonderful milestone anniversaries.
Great, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the Transit Advisory Committee. As you can see on the screen, we have 5 milestone anniversaries that we'd like to celebrate today. This includes the months of May and June in light of May's canceled meeting. So first, I'll start top left-hand corner. Ann Deno is celebrating her 10th anniversary with Mountain Line, and she's actually here in the room today. Ann is currently in the role of Capital Development Manager. However, Ann started out in a limited appointment position that was designed to assist us with completing a couple capital projects. Little did we know how crucial Ann would become to our success. Ann has been a key part of completion of the bus storage facility here at Caspar, planning and construction of both the CDL training and testing facility and the Downtown Connection Center. In addition to that, she's working on the Caspar renovations and has accomplished so much in her 10 years and is a cornerstone to our capital planning efforts. Congratulations, Ann, on your 10th anniversary, and thank you for your commitment to excellence and your dedication to making our visions reality. In the middle on the top is Karen Moeller, also celebrating 10 years here with Mountain Line. And I want to acknowledge that Karen actually does not work in the Mountain Line programs themselves at this point. She works for Metro Plan as their clerk of the board and executive assistants. But she's been with Mountain Line for 10 years and has served in a variety of roles. She currently is applying her skills to assist in the development of Metro Plan's board packets, policies, and financial reports. But over her 10 years, she has served as paratransit driver, transit operator, dispatcher, ADA specialist, and customer service representative for the Mountain Line and paratransit programs. She's always been willing to take on and learn new roles and duties to help wherever she is needed. She today can be found with a Mountain Line bus at special events and driving. She in fact is driving this afternoon. So congratulations to Karen on her 10 years and thanks for all that you do to contribute to our success. I'm going to jump to the bottom. Lane Williams is celebrating his 1st anniversary. He's on the left-hand side there as transit bus operator. He's only been with us a short time, but has proven himself a skilled operator. Lane excels at providing excellent customer service. He is terrific with passengers and always willing to provide a helpful hand, including sharing information like directions or points of interest. Our passengers really like Lane, and we are so glad to celebrate his 1st year with us. Sticking with the bottom row, Ty Holiday on the bottom right has completed his 1st year here at Mountain Line, and that is not something that's common. Generally, our Montoya Fellow, our internship program, planning group only is a 1-year appointment, but He's done such an amazing job that we actually have kept him now for a second year. Just to stay on. Ty brings a diverse skill set to projects, from technical skills in programming and planning and mapping to soft skills in communication and teamwork, and he's an absolute joy to work with. Ty has been instrumental in implementing our TripQuest solution, which is really what we as leadership are using to evaluate our riding experience here in the Flagstaff area on Mountain Line. And it allows us to evaluate what do we see as customers and put that into our customer service building. And we're so grateful for his skill and his offering there. And lastly, for the month of June, we're going to celebrate Cody Weaver, also in the room here today. On the top right, Cody Weaver is celebrating her first anniversary at Mountain Line, although I don't know how we have done it without her. Cody comes to us from Las Vegas, where she served with several companies in a variety of human resources roles. Cody has infused the Mountain Line Human Resources Department with an infectious energy and a commitment to improving efficiency and compliance during her time in the role. We look forward to continuing to work with Cody for many years to come. And Cody does serve as our HR manager. And with that, Chair Clifton, those are our milestone anniversaries this month.
Thank you so much. Congratulations to all of you, Ann, Karen, Blaine, Ty, Cody. Yeah, that's great news. Heather, I don't mind sharing with you, whoever's taking your photographs of your wonderful employees. These are great photographs. Nice smiles. Good job. Thank you so much.
Pass that on.
Okie doke. Think we're on to the, yeah, please.
Regular agenda items. I do have a couple announcements, if you
Yes.
don't mind. Wanted to share a couple of things with you that are specific to the Transit Advisory Committee. Carlton Johnson, who has been serving in the city's alternate citizen member role, has resigned from the TAC, but he's done that because he's taken a position within the city of Flagstaff in transportation planning. And so while he's leaving the TAC, we're very excited about continuing to work with Carlton in his new role. He has been a very engaged and active TAC member. In fact, he came to the Downtown Connection Center with me a couple months ago to celebrate our employees. And so he's just been a great member, and he will be missed in that role. But again, we look forward to working with him in his new role at the city of Flagstaff. And I want to acknowledge today is Tiffany Kerr's last meeting, and I know we celebrated her service a couple months ago, but I couldn't let her last meeting go by without again saying thank you for everything you've done here. We congratulate you on your adventure that's coming up, and we will be sure to continue to work hard to complete the good work that you have helped us start here in our community. And lastly, Carly Vandermeesh, and I'm sorry if I'm saying that last name incorrectly, is the new ASNAU president for 2024 to 2025. And she is taking over Maria Maschler's place on the Transit Advisory Committee, serving as NAU student ex officio member. So Carly, welcome to the TAC, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Heather. Welcome, Carly. Do I need to offer up an apology for taking Carlton out of TAC and into this city organization, or are we good?
Everything's a win-win.
We are, I will share with you, we are happy to see Carlton come back to the city organization. And these days where recruitment remains a challenge for all of us, it's just wonderful when we're able to land good employees. So just wanted to give you that note. Thank you, Heather. And are we, yes, we are, we're ready for the call to the public.
Chair Clifton, we have no members of the public in the room with us today, and there were no online comments submitted, so.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Rhonda. We'll move on to our TAC minutes from April 4th. And we need approval of these minutes. Remind me, Heather or Rhonda, do we do this by motion?
Yes, please.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to have the April 4th minutes approved, unless there's any need for discussion.
This
This is Carol, and I would move to approve.
Thank you, Carol.
This is
Michelle, and I'll
Dave.
second that.
Oh, Michelle, you got it.
Michelle beat you to the punch. Thank you, Michelle. We do have a motion and we do have a second. Any discussion on this? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, thank you for that approval, and we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we get to review the draft board business agenda. And the first discussion item, the proposed budget. I know that these, we're not going to necessarily discuss all of these, but who's walking us through these discussion action items?
So the first discussion action item, the proposed budget, was prepared by Josh as in your packet, but Josh is at Federal Transit Administration training today, so I am going to attempt to fill his shoes and do this presentation for you today. This is a requirement for us to enter fiscal year 2024 and have a budget for our operations and programs. So with this item, we are recommending for the board of directors to approve the fiscal year 2025 proposed budget for a total expense budget of $83,369,292 with operating of $12,980,454 and a capital of $70,388,838. This is by far the largest capital budget we have ever had, but we have some significant projects and we are expecting to see many of those conclude or make significant progress in fiscal year 2025. With that, I do want to review what we have not already reviewed with you, which is the revenues that allow us to consider this budget. Next slide, please. So Mountain Line as an organization actually has no funding of our own. All of the revenues that we have are dependent upon the partnerships and agreements that we have in place, as well as the fare box return from our transit programs. And so you can see on the screen here, the total local sources that are necessary to get to our $83 million budget, total $23,225,695, with the major contributor being the city of Flagstaff. And that is due in large part to the local match for our capital projects. All of the capital projects, or the majority of our capital projects in fiscal year 2025, are federally funded, and each of those requires around 20% local match. And so that goes into that 13 million, as well as the majority of our operating costs, which are covered by the transit tax that the city of Flagstaff collects. The other local source, which is also quite significant, of 7.9 million, I want to just note that that is inclusive of the $6.9 million bike and pedestrian grant that we have. Mountain Line and the transit tax are not providing the local match for that project. However, we are the federal recipient. And so of that 7.9 million, 6.9 is the federal funds for that bike and pedestrian project. Additionally, we have just over 60 million in federal revenues. This does include the pass-through funds that we receive from the Arizona Department of Transportation. That is for our van pool and taxi programs, as well as mobility management. We also have some funds that go towards our paratransit program from that pass-through. But the majority is the 59 million, which is our appropriated and competitive federal funding for operations and our capital projects. I'll just pause to see if there's any specific questions on any of those revenue sources or the details behind them. Okay, next slide. So, oops, sorry. So as a reminder, this is the makeup of our budget. 83 million goes 70 million into capital. A lot of these projects you're hopefully familiar with because we've been providing regular updates. It does include completion, the Downtown Connection Center Phase 1. It includes the initiation of the Caspar Maintenance Facility expansion, bus stop charging infrastructure as needed for our ongoing transition to zero emission vehicles, bus stop rehabilitation, and then you can see there the bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure project mentioned earlier. The operating budget, this was reviewed, I believe, in March with the board and TAC. It is a 10% increase over fiscal year 2024, primarily for workforce, insurance, and vehicle and facility maintenance. We did not hear any questions or concerns when presenting these details, and so ultimately have continued forward with making the recommendation to the board to adopt this budget. And that's my very simple presentation of the proposed budget, really a wrap up of the presentations already done over the last couple of months. Next slide. And so we will be presenting and asking the board to adopt this budget on June 26th. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have of us today. That's all I have, Mr. Clifton, on this item.
Thank you. And no questions or comments, but certainly that's not indicative of, you know, everything that you just presented to us and will be presenting to the board. We all know a lot of work goes into this, and it's always a little bit anticlimactic at the end when these things just get presented and approved. But I just want to, I guess, share great appreciation for all the work that has gone into this budget. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, the zero emissions bus transition.
All right, so I will be presenting this item, and this is not recommended, there's no action recommended related to this because we already have an adopted zero emission bus transition plan. But early on in accepting delivery of these two vehicles, we did tell the board we would come back and confirm if we wanted to keep moving forward with that transition or deviate. So this report is to really provide information and a conclusion to that. It is the last opportunity at this point in time for the board to tell us to not continue to move forward with zero emission bus transition. So I have a couple of slides just to walk you through the information in the staff report. So a couple months ago, Busy did present on the performance of the zero emission vehicles. And as you can see, both vehicles are performing well or as expected. There was no surprises in this information on efficiency per mile. It is also in keeping with several other transit systems that are operating zero emission vehicles, 3 here on the screen. So again, we feel like the vehicles are performing as anticipated. Energy cost per mile, you can see all the 2 zero emission vehicles. And I did forget to mention this does try and put our hybrid fleet on here as well, just so you can see a comparative. Obviously the hybrids, the energy cost per mile on the hybrids is the highest. The 2 battery electric buses are performing better than those, than the hybrids. And again, oops, sorry, thought there were 3 of them presenting against one of our peer cities, ironically named Mountain Line in Missoula, Montana. And you can see we're right in line with what they are doing. And I'm going to look at Ann really quick, but I believe Mountain Line is Missoula is primarily Gillig battery electric buses or others. They do not have a new flyer.
They have one new
They have
flyer,
one new flyer.
Proterra and Gillig's, but they're generally moving towards Gillig.
Generally moving towards Gillig's. So really with this performance data in mind, we look to the next question that we had at the beginning of the process of can we get charging on route? If you'll remember, the zero emission bus transition plan said that in order for us to transition to zero emission vehicles, we have to adopt on route charging because of the range of these batteries. And this was presented by Ann earlier in the spring. Really, we have now submitted and received approval from the city for our site plan. We are still working on approval of our construction as it relates to the Army Corps of Engineers project with the Rio de Flag. But really what I wanted to demonstrate here in that red circle is one on-route charger, which we feel will have the capacity that we need to go ahead and buy our next round of vehicles. And the last thing that we told the board we would answer is how do we buy those vehicles? A couple of things happened this spring, including an announcement from FTA that they prefer transit agencies use joint procurements. This is a almost 180 degree change in direction in prior years where they wanted us all to write these competitive procurements and select vendors. They're now saying, no, cooperate, do joint procurements. And part of that's because they want to standardize the build of vehicles for our two manufacturers. And so we still have capacity or still have an opportunity to buy from the Washington State contract. That is how we bought the two vehicles we have now. By doing that, we will save about 6 months of effort to write a procurement and then award it to the vendors. And to be honest, we don't know if one or both of vendors would even participate in a procurement. And I'm going to go over that here in a minute. Ultimately, the Washington State contract gives us the option to buy the vehicles that we need, and it will be 24 months from order to delivery, which gives us the time we need to get that on-route charging implemented. One thing I want to note is that 2 years ago, there were 4 or 5 bus manufacturers that met the Buy America standards for bus manufacturing in the United States, which we are required to observe in using federal funds to buy vehicles. Today, there are 2. So we as an industry know that there's going to be some challenges on order times and timeline for delivery of vehicles. And again, that's why I think this joint procurement is a good option for us. It doesn't put us 6 months out and allow other people to get in line basically in front of us. So in my mind, time is of the essence to order as many vehicles as we have funding for now and get in line for those vehicles. So ultimately, all of this information allows me to feel comfortable in saying to the board, Mountain Line intends to continue with the zero emission bus transition plan and purchase our next 4 buses as battery electric buses. It is likely those will be Gillig buses over New Flyer buses, but we are still putting that justification together. But with the board's head nod, because again, we're not asking for recommendation since this is already an adopted plan, then we will make that order at the end of this month and get in line for 2 to 4 vehicles, hopefully to be delivered in the next 24 to 48 months. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that presentation. Any questions for Heather? Heather, I might jump in with a comment if that's okay. I want to give props to you and your team for getting on this procurement. It's a big deal as we're talking about electrifying our fleets and the demand right now and the lack of inventory in some cases all translates into either getting in line right away or not being able to receive delivery when we want that to happen. That is a narrative that we're seeing a lot here at the city. And so I'm very grateful to see this effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
I'm sorry, this is Carol. I just also wanted to offer a comment, if I may, a suggestion. I always put how would I receive this if I were on the board lenses. I found myself it took me a minute to figure out the first chart with the different names of the bus manufacturers. They didn't mean anything to me. And so I was like, okay, what does that mean? Yeah. And so I thought it might be useful just to back up and say, these are the name, the manufacturers of the buses that we're using, and this is how they performed, just sort of backdrop.
Mm-hmm.
For that feedback. That's excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Carol. Great suggestion. Any other feedback on this?
I had a quick question, Mr. Clifton, if I could
Please.
ask Mountain Line, how many on-site chargers are there going to be? I heard you say 1, but I thought I read that there were going to be 2 at the Downtown Connection Center.
Okay, we will double check the staff report, but I will clarify, we will have one en route charger at the Downtown Connection Center. And part of that is due, I'm gonna go back to that slide. You can see that small triangle around the red circle. This is actually where we have to move our transfer center into from its existing location for the duration of the Rio de Flag project. And so this constrained space really allows us to put up one en route charger. But we will have the ability to support that charging need here at our headquarters with one fast charger here installed to be installed this summer and one slow charger that can still be used for overnight charging.
Great. Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah, and thank you for the question, Michelle. That was quite interesting. So thank you for that. Yeah, it's good discussion.
Okay, we can move on to the next if you're ready, Chair Clifton.
Please do.
All right, I think Busy is going to join and do the report on the triennial review that we have just completed.
Thank you. Chair Clifton, members of the Transit Advisory Committee. I'm here talking about the triennial review. Hopefully this sounds familiar. I've come twice before, once in a presentation and once in a progress report. But I'm here to wrap up the final results of the triennial review. Next slide, please, Rhonda. And as a reminder, every 3 years, the Federal Transit Administration, or FTA, completes a review of Mountain Line programs and policies for compliance with regulations. And we had our on-site review in May, early May. And we had FTA reviewers pictured here, a couple of them with our Mountain Line staff, touring facilities, interviewing key staff on policies and procedures. 159 questions were examined across 23 review areas. And the results of this review is that we did have 5 deficiencies identified out of that possible 159 questions that were asked. And they were found over 3 review areas. And please note, my staff report was wrong. I had identified 9 deficiencies. There's actually 9 corrective actions, but only 5 deficiencies, which we'll see on the next slide. Next slide, please, Rhonda. And just as comparison, our last triennial review, we had 0 deficiencies, which is exceptional. And the one prior to that, we had 11 deficiencies over 7 review areas. And so pictured here is the corrective action plan. This is also an attachment in your board packet. We are seeking board approval on this corrective action plan. And so you can see on the left, the 3 review areas that deficiencies were found, the 5 deficiencies listed there, and the 9 corrective actions for them. I will note that the FTA deadline is either August or October 23rd of this year, but Mountain Line does think that we can achieve all of these corrective actions by July 23rd. And that is also the date of the final report that will be sent to staff and directly to Board Chair Williams, coming from the reviewer. And within that report, if having all these corrective actions identified just really helps sum it up. They would include the details on that. It's just a nice way to wrap up the package, and really our corrective actions are quite simple. So we're already jumping on them in progress. And so we do think we're going to meet that July 23rd date. And just a note, staying in compliance takes every single person at Mountain Line. The outcome of this review really shows what a great job our staff does every day. And especially the many staff who are in the hot seat during the review process. And I listed that in my staff report. There's a lot. We all are, responsible for some area of compliance. So really proud of our team, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Busy, thank you for that. Very informative. Any questions or comments for Busy on this?
Chair Clifton, if I may,
Please.
Assume that I'm allowed to make a comment.
Of course.
I want to start by recognizing that all of these are administrative or clerical things that need to be done, and there were no findings on the care that we provide for our federal investments or the funding and how we have used it. So really, those are significant that there was none of that. These are, in my mind, minor clerical oversights that our staff is already working very hard to correct, as Busy indicated. And further, I would like to say, Busy did a great job of recognizing other people, but I'd really like to ask the TAC, and I'll be asking the board to do the same thing. same thing, to really recognize Busy's efforts. She coordinated the response to those 159 areas, which I think was 675,000 questions, and lots of documents back and forth. And I am exaggerating, but Busy did a lot of really hard work to get us through this review, to get our team prepared for it, and to be responsive to FTA. And so want to recognize Busy and her efforts with this report.
Well said, Heather. Busy, we all recognize the excellent work going into this, and I think quite notably the outcomes that as you mentioned will hopefully materialize here in the very near future. That's the important part of all this, right? Is the report and then the corrective actions to follow. And thank you, Heather, for noting the administrative nature of these. Yeah, that's very evident in looking at the spreadsheet here. Any other comments? I think we're good. Thank you.
I think if you're ready, we can move into progress reports. I will clarify, there are a number of items on the consent agenda. If the Transit Advisory Committee has comments or questions, we will do our best to address them, but the consent items are general housekeeping items. Most of them are related to just the year-end or year-beginning things that we need. However, there were 5 policy-type items with resolutions. Those are all a direct outcome of improvements we've made to those policies and programs as a result of the training and review. And so we don't have prepared presentations, but I just wanted to pause and see if there was any item that a Transit Advisory Committee member would like us to briefly discuss or answer questions about.
Yeah, thank you, Heather, for walking us through that. It is a busy consent agenda. Is there any needed discussion or thoughts on the consent agenda here? I think we are good on this, Heather, and I think we can go right into progress reports if you're ready.
Okay. So I did let Chair Clifton know just before the meeting that although we normally don't do any presentations on progress reports, I do have a presentation on this specific progress report, the strategic plan, as this was prepared for the joint meeting in May that was canceled. So I did want to go ahead and share with you an update on our 12 to 18 month work plan. It is a brief presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have as we go. So please don't hesitate to interrupt me. There are 6 areas of our strategic plan, our 2020 to 2025 strategic plan that included a 12 to 18 month work plan that was adopted this past fall. So this is our mid-year check-in. Goal 1, service excellence, has 3 objectives with 18 tasks. And I'm happy to report that actually 10 of the 18 tasks are completed and the other 8 are in process. So there's nothing under this goal that has not yet been started. And I gave you an example of some of the things that we have marked as completed. We've identified funding for the implementation of the 5-year plan. The board took action on that in May. We did hold a special meeting to get permission to take a recommendation to City Council to ask a question that would increase the transit tax by 20 cents and extend the sunset from 2030 to 2040. And we got thumbs up from City Council, and then that will go back for the call for the election by the city in June. So we call that one complete. We've analyzed service to the Plaza Vieja neighborhood, the rerouting of Route 8 to potentially serve that neighborhood. We did apply for funds for missing and incomplete bus stops. We are still waiting for a response on that application for funding. We've coordinated with the city to implement bus lanes as part of the Beulah realignment project. And our team is currently working with City of Flagstaff staff on the code study that's being done to look at and consider how transit can be incorporated into code updates. And lastly, we did evaluate the fare program for changes that we could make to address equity concerns. The Transit Advisory Committee heard that recommendation in April. It still has not made it to the board for a variety of reasons, but the board is set to consider the fare change recommendation at the June meeting, which will expand our reduced fare program. The second goal, stewardship of resources, it contains two objectives with 9 tasks. 4 tasks we do have completed, 4 are in process, and we actually have one under this section that we have not yet started. But examples of completed items include the monitoring of the battery electric buses as just presented, or well, presented by Busy months ago and then referenced in today's report. We have developed a formal program to engage our leadership team in riding the bus. That's that Trip Plus program that I referenced when talking about Ty and his contributions here at Mountain Line. And we have completed an evaluation of our existing transit asset management software to determine that we really need to replace that solution to ensure that we are efficiently and effectively managing our assets. Goal 3, invest in our workplace. 3 objectives with 12 tasks. I'm pleased to report that 1 is completed, and it was a big one. We opened the CDL course in March of 2024. We actually had our ribbon cutting in May, and I have some photos that I'm going to share of that. We have 9 items that are still in process and 2 that have not started. And I want to say that we continue to combat staffing shortages here at Mountain Line, and that means the team that would really be working on these tasks under goal 3 are instead spending their time recruiting, onboarding, and performing training. We did get 100% of our drivers through refresher training this spring. That was not in our task list, but something we're very proud to have done. And we rolled out a program that allows us to give drivers and all staff quick trainings every month, 15 to 20-minute trainings via email where they log in. It's self-led interactive environment. Also not in our work plan, but one of the steps we have taken to really getting more training out to our team. Goal 4 is our enhanced safety culture. So that goal has 3 objectives with 11 tasks. 6 of those are complete, 3 in process, and 2 are not started. So again, a couple examples of things that have been completed. We have developed a safety and training plan for fleet facilities and operations on proper procedures for EV. We'll tell you, one of the bus manufacturers is here again this week for their 2nd training with our fleet department. And we have the other bus manufacturer coming in later this summer to do the same thing. So very glad to see that training move forward. Sam has updated the safety plan to include EV vehicles, so really happy to see this one completed. We felt it was key and essential. We have identified hazards and implemented mitigations in the design of the Downtown Connection Center. We did invite all the local first responders here in the community to look at our EV vehicles, to look at how we park them in our building, and we continue to have that open conversation with them anytime they want to come inspect a vehicle and bang around in it, if you will. No blowing anything up, but take a good look at what those vehicles and what are best practices. And we ourselves are still working on that, and we'll continue to work with our local first responders, but mostly we would mark this as complete. There's just always going to be a need, right, to evaluate EV and first responders. As we change the quantity of vehicles, the response is different. And then the last one is we have evaluated the plexiglass doors. If you'll remember, in the middle of COVID, we had a very innovative mechanic that helped us build a security door that served both as a germ guard as well as a security door for our drivers. Those doors have served a purpose, but they don't work great. And we have 2 new vehicles that have doors that work really great, and the drivers like them. And so we are working now to figure out a plan to replace all of those doors, because the new doors have increased driver buy-in and comfort inside the vehicles. Goal 5, community engagement. You can imagine that this is going to be an important one in the next several months, but the goal has 2 objectives with 9 tasks. And we've actually completed 2 of those tasks, and we have 6 in process with 1 not started. So we did engage the CAC, and that resulted in a recommendation to City Council. We have, I don't know if we've done 10 community events, but we have engaged in every community event possible. We will be in the coming parades that are happening this summer. So look for our team to be out there. Every opportunity we have, we will be out there in the public talking about who we are and what we do. Goal 6 is fiscal responsibility. 3 objectives, 8 tasks. 3 of these are completed and 4 are in process with 1 not started. So again, examples of tasks completed. We are updating our compensation plan. We have worked with partners in the community to promote EcoPass program usage. We've worked with the city of Flagstaff on their program as well as Coconino County. We also in Jackie's FUSD progress report, if you haven't read it, we are looking at expanding the student pass program that we have now with FUSD to be an EcoPass program. So more students have more access as well as staff and faculty at FUSD. That would be a new EcoPass program for Mountain Lion. We're very excited about it. And then consider the value of disposing excess real property. We have gone through a process to look at the property that we own here, more to come on that. And our interest is ensuring that Mountain Lion has the best benefit of whatever we do with that land. And so we've considered the value of disposing it, and we have some ideas and suggestions at a future meeting. And with that, that was my very brief progress report. So I'll just pause and see if there are any questions. There are a lot of areas I didn't touch on that are complete. I tried to hit the things that we've talked about in prior meetings or that there seemed to be great interest. But if you would like the full report, which shows all of the completed items, I would be happy to forward that.
Yeah, this is Dave. I just wondered if you could manage my personal life so I could make that kind of progress.
If it was all up to me doing it, we really great people that ensure these tasks stay on track.
Yeah.
Very good job.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. I think like the procurement policy discussion, you're going to have to get in line on that one. Other questions or comments for Heather? And thank you for that report, Heather. That was a nice high-level summary. Really appreciate it.
Of course. If you'd like, I can move right into current events.
Very good.
All right, a couple current events to share with you. We do have a couple of other anniversaries to share. And so you can see here on the screen, these are what we call our non-milestone anniversaries. And I want to first point to the 3 people listed on here that are transit bus operators. We have Jimmy Gray on the top left, 19 years with Mountain Lion. Ryan Mitchell, 3 years. And Mike Langen, 2 years. All of these drivers contribute significantly to our successes, and we're so grateful that they continue to be here. They all have different strengths as drivers. And you can see in Jimmy's photo, I just point to him because I don't know that I've ever seen Jimmy frown. He is one of the happiest people that we have here. He actually came to us from NAU. He worked for us part-time while also working at NAU, and now worked for us in his retirement from NAU. And we're so grateful because he helps fill those gaps that we really need someone to fill. Ryan is a full-time operator, dependable, reliable, safe driver with good customer service. And Mike Langen also just a cornerstone of how we get our work done. He's here when we expect him to be here, and we so appreciate it. Mike is also a longtime Flagstaff resident, which really adds to his ability to answer customer questions, directions, and points of interest. I'm going to skip Dave Wessel for just a moment. He is on the line and I want to talk about him, but I'm going to skip him for just a moment. I recognize Aaliyah, our finance coordinator. She's celebrating her 2nd year with Mountain Lion. And I will say Aaliyah just started in her finance coordinator role about 6 months ago, maybe. She started out at our front desk and she just has been a phenomenal contributor to our financial successes. She just takes on a little bit more all of the time. And we're very excited to see her enter this new role. And of course, I could not skip Rhonda, who's here in the room with us, 13 years in June as our executive assistant and clerk of the board. And I don't think I have to say it's a phenomenally good job, right? I mean, you can't have these meetings without you, and I cannot be organized without you. So very grateful for all the energy and commitment that you put forth here at Mountain Lion. Congratulations. Thank you. And to Mr. Wessel, who is on the phone, I have a written comment from his supervisor that I wanted to share. So Dave, kind of like Karen, doesn't actually work for Mountain Lion as in works in our programs. He is a Mountain Lion employee because we provide employment services to Metro Plan. So he is celebrating his 4th year as a Mountain Line employee, but he's been with Flagstaff Metropolitan Planning Organization / Metro Plan for 27 years. He most recently helped develop a package of projects to support Prop 419 implementation. And there have been many other efforts that have reshaped our community over his years of service. He's now working to continue making change in oversight of the Safe Streets Master Plan, Metro Plan, and many projects in the city, the county, and even within our transit programs wouldn't be the same without Dave's touch. So to our Transit Advisory Committee member, Dave Wessel, congratulations on your anniversary, and thanks for all that you do.
Thank you. Those are very kind words.
Very well deserved. Gosh, Heather, that was very uplifting. Jimmy, Ryan, Mike, Dave, Aaliyah, Rhonda, congratulations to all of you. Amazing contributions, a lot of tenure in front of us right now on the image in front of us. And we are so appreciative. Heather, thank you for that.
Sure, of course. And a couple other brief updates with some fun photos. We cut the ribbon on the CDL course. Very grateful that our board members, Miranda Sweet, Geronimo Vasquez, and Tony Williams could join us for that ribbon cutting. I'm joined in the photo by Bjorn, who's, I'm sorry, last name I'm not recalling. He's at NAU, and so this is really recognition of the partnership. Without NAU in the land, we could not have built this CDL course. So we had a great celebration. You can see here several individuals that attended our project team on the top right-hand side. That's Anne with all the contractors and Northern Arizona University staff that have participated in bringing this to this vision to reality. Top left is our team members who have all had a role in completing the project. And on the bottom right, this photo is the sheer number of people that attended this event. And we're so grateful for that. I will just recognize there were staff from Navajo Transit that attended. There were staff from Hopi Transit that made the journey to attend. We had staff members out of the Verde Valley as well. There was a lot of conversation about how do we use this to improve everybody's ability to deliver transit programs, which is exactly why we built it. So we're very excited to continue those conversations, especially with Navajo Transit, who sees this as an opportunity to really to bring a lot of employees to their program and get the route from the Navajo Nation to the city of Flagstaff reintroduced and staffed. So a great event. Thank you to Jackie Leonard, who really was key in getting this up with the support of Northern Arizona University staff. Another item from the current events report, our team did go out and look at Route 8. There's the team in a nice selfie pose, a little reminiscent of Ellen's, what was it, Grammy photo, that selfie at the Grammys, but you know that photo, maybe you don't. On the bottom right-hand side is a map of the existing Route 8. So the blue line is our existing Route 8 service. What we are looking at is how do we extend that out to Woody Mountain? So that's that little yellow hazy area with a green line. So the team went out to look at how do we expand under current conditions? And we'll continue evaluating and we'll be back with recommendations on that in the future. We are in the process of a bus stop refresh in the downtown area. So if you saw our bus stops without roofs, nobody stole them. It was on purpose. We removed them. They are being refurbished. Normally, when we refurbish a bus shelter, we actually remove the entire structure. These structures in our downtown area have stone-wrapped poles, so we cannot remove the whole structure, but they did go ahead and remove the roof, which will be refurbished, and then they will do refurbishment on site of the other metal works without disturbing those beautiful stone-wrapped poles. We are looking to improve a bus stop, and I have some notes on this, so if you'll bear with me one moment. This on the image here is our current conditions at
Tacos Los Altos.
Tacos Los Altos, which is on Route 66 westbound at Banning.
At Route 66 and
Banning. Just wanted to give you a point of reference. Sorry, I should have written that part down. What's happened is this is our current operating space, and I will tell you, we all go out and stand in the middle of the sidewalk and use the bus frequently to go downtown, and it's very intrusive to people who are actually using the sidewalk as pedestrians and bicyclists, a group of people standing at this bus stop, but we don't have space to do more than drop a sign and put on a trash can, and this is an example of one condition that exists in our community when property owners don't want to give us space in their property. We have to operate in the right of way. Kentucky Fried Chicken is looking at developing a restaurant in the old Sizzler, which is just down the street from this. It's actually through the light. You can see it in the photo on the left-hand side. And this development is going to give us the opportunity to move our stop. So our stop would move from its current location to post the light and provide a better opportunity there. So we're very excited about that opportunity and that improvement, and grateful for the partnership that we really have been offered with KFC as they develop it. It is not going to be a quick thing. Our understanding is that there's about 60 days still to complete some approvals on that development, and construction of the stop infrastructure will take 6 to 9 months. So we could be operating there as early as March of 2025. This is a wildly popular stop, and this will be a significant improvement that's appreciated probably by all the business owners, the riders, as well as the public. Some of our team members went to Missoula, Montana and visited our other mountain line system. The purpose of that visit was to look at their electrical infrastructure. They were early adopters of electrical buses, battery electrical buses. You can see in the photo on the right, the Bank of Green Proterra, which is one of the earliest battery electric bus manufacturers. It's no longer manufacturing vehicles, but that's a bank of their electrical infrastructure. On the left-hand side, that is a Gillig bus. I believe that's a Gillig bus, and that is they're using a reel from the ceiling to bring the charger down. There's several models of how you do on base charging, which is what Missoula is using, is they're charging only at night in the indoors. So they plug the buses in and they charge all night long. Some look like fuel pumps, and you just bring the charger over from the fuel pump. And what the industry has learned is, no, put those up in the ceiling, because when you run over that cord with a vehicle, it's an expensive repair. So our team anyways, they went up to Missoula to have this conversation about what are their lessons learned. It was a really great trip, and I'm so grateful that the team was able to go. Here you can see their team and ours, and you can see their logo is just not as pretty as ours, just saying. But it was a great trip, and I know Missoula has been a great partner to Mountain Line. If you're not familiar with Missoula, it is really just like Flagstaff. Population, university, climate. So a really great opportunity for us to pair up and share stories and lessons learned. And I want to thank Ann Dunno for really organizing the trip. The attendees from Mountain Line included Busy Collins, Ann Dunno, Jeremiah McVicker, all people you're used to seeing, but the second person from the left-hand side is Matthew Baker, and he is one of our mechanics. And he is going to be really leading the next steps with our electrical transition. So we were glad he could go and participate in this site visit. I want to invite you all to our summer barbecue. It is July 25th from 12 to 2:30 here at Mountain Line in our shop. Our fleet team in the summer loves to barbecue for all of us. It's one of the things they enjoy and give back. So we'll have lots of good barbecue food, games, and fun. But we're really going to focus on celebrating our staff at this barbecue. So we're going to have quarterly bonus announcements, milestone celebrations, etc. So if you're interested, let Rhonda know. She'll shoot that invite over to you to give you a block on your calendar. But we really hope that you stop by and stay as long as you can and enjoy some food with our team members. This is one of our 2 events per year for employee gathering. And last photo update that I have for you, the cranes arrived at the Downtown Connection Center. And I mean, the building coming out of the ground has been exciting, but I think those cranes arriving on the site needed a lot of conversation and energy. I shared with Chair Clifton before this meeting, I was off the weekend that the cranes arrived, and I was getting text messages from all of our staff. The cranes are here, the cranes are here. It was a very, very exciting moment. But for me, the excitement is the cranes brought the next transition of this building and some of the most exciting elements of this building. So you can see they're setting these pillars or posts that are key to our roof and our structure of the facility. And they did lie in, see it there on the left, these big platforms, which is our CLT pieces of lumber that are going to create the deck and the flooring for this facility. So very exciting things to see happening. It's starting to really look like a building. It'll draw together the structures that have already been built, and we'll really start to see that building form now. So very exciting. Our staff is really excited. It's all still feeling very real now to see these additional improvements. And these things, I'll remind you, are part of our efforts around sustainability. And we're very grateful that Levin and HDR brought these components to our facility. I have two things to share that were not necessarily in my report, and they definitely are not my slideshow. Next week, some of our staff, myself and two others, are attending the Community Transportation Association of America Annual Conference and Expo. And this year, they have introduced a bus rodeo. I know we talked about bus rodeo earlier this year, but this is a national bus rodeo, and Mountain Line will be represented in that rodeo by Matt Kimmons. And I look forward to really coming back and sharing the news with you about his success. He actually said to me this morning, are you excited to celebrate our first place? So he is very excited to be at this event. And this is the first time that Mountain Line has participated in a national rodeo, which is really a competition of bus operators in years. The last one we participated in was probably, I think, 2013. So very excited to have Matt join me at this opportunity. There is a potential board item that was not in your packet, and I just wanted to recognize that we are considering a wage change for our operators and operations supervisors. We continue to struggle with recruitment and retention, and we know wage is a major contributor to drawing and attracting qualified candidates that are interested in staying in this industry. So we're doing some research right now, but I wanted to give you a heads up that may be something that ends up on the board agenda for this month that did not come to you, but I will be sure and bring you an update in August. And with that, Chair Clifton, those are all of my updates.
Thank you. Boy, a wealth of information. And I'll open it up to see if there's any comments or questions on any of the topics that Heather just walked us through. Not seeing any. Heather, great photos of the progress at DCC. That's exciting. I have a quick question out of curiosity. The Mountain Line moniker, who was first? Was it Missoula or Flagstaff?
Can you keep a secret?
Yes.
We stole it. We flat out stole it from Missoula, Montana.
I'm good with that. Yep, I'm good. All right. I was just curious.
For those that have been in the community for a long time, the decision to name our services Mountain Line in 2000 was done through a very public process where it was the lead selected name by our community. But we, of course, borrowed the idea from Missoula, Montana, and then implemented it. There's actually 3 Mountain Lines transit programs in the United States. The third one is in West Virginia, Morgantown, West Virginia.
Well, there you go. That's good trivia. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Any other comments or questions? This has been a lot of content in this agenda, but we've gotten through it pretty quickly. I appreciate that. And now we're on to the items from committee and staff in the next TAC meeting.
So a reminder, the TAC meeting is the 1st of August. And for now, this is what staff have proposed to be on that agenda. We, of course, welcome your feedback. If there's things that you would like to see us bring forward, please let us know.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Before we adjourn, then, just a reminder, what was the date, Heather, of your barbecue over there at the facility?
July 25th, 12
July.
to 2:30.
Great, July 25th. Thank you for that, and we look forward to the early August meeting as well. I'm going to circle back before we adjourn and restate what was so eloquently stated at the beginning on our safety tip with the weather that's now in the forecast and now upon us. Stay cool, everybody. Quite literally, stay cool, stay hydrated. And thank you for a great meeting, Heather, Rhonda, and team. And if there's nothing further, I think we can adjourn, yes?
You can. Yes.
Okay, Tiffany, enjoy your last day and thank you
Thank
all.